You're listening to the Fairways People podcast, where we share inspiring stories, meaningful conversations, and the voices behind our charity. Each episode offers a closer look at the people and passion that drive us. Hosted by Fairways Managing Director, Gareth Webb.
So, hello everyone. Welcome to another Fairways People podcast. So I'm Gareth Webb, the Managing Director of Fairways. We're really getting some great feedback so far from staff that have said they found these really interesting to get to know some of the Fairways people. So, for our podcast today, we have Natalie Merriman, our Head of Family Services, which consists of fostering, the Family Centre and Contact Service. Welcome, Natalie.
Hello.
How are you doing? All right?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Good. Well, thanks for joining me. So let me just give you a bit of an insight to Natalie. So she's been with Fairways now for around 16 years. Is that right?
Yeah.
So you joined as a supervising social worker. After completing your work experience, your student placement with Fairways as a student social worker at Southampton University. Is that correct?
Portsmouth.
Yeah, ooh, boo. Sorry, that's my mistake. Okay, so you was a student social worker at Portsmouth Uni, and you loved Fairways so much, you decided to apply for a job and you were successful. Is that right?
That's exactly
Good.
right. Yeah.
Okay. So, and then since you've been at Fairways, you've had a fantastic career so far. So with Fairways, you've progressed on to being the deputy fostering manager. And then you moved on to being the registered fostering manager, which I believe you achieved outstanding in all areas for Ofsted under the inspection regime, which is brilliant. And after that, you was promoted to the head of fostering.
Yeah.
And then more recently, also, you're now the head of family services. So your department now consists of all the fostering department, which is around 50 placements, around 38 carers roughly. Is that right?
Roughly, yeah.
You've got 2 residential family centres, which can take up to around 13 families. And I don't know if you know this, but I know there's just under 100 family centres in the UK at the moment, and only 7 are graded as outstanding, and we are one of them.
Woohoo!
So that's amazing. That's a credit to the service that your team operate. That is a real sort of achievement. So that's brilliant. And also you've got the contact service, which is accredited by CAFCAS, and which is a service that supports sort of mum, dad, families sort of to have contact with children, which we'll come on to a bit more about these services in a bit later on. You directly manage 4 managers below you, and then there's probably around 60 plus staff and 38 carers, like I say, in your department. It sounds really big, actually, doesn't it?
That's a little bit, yeah, just a tad, yeah. I'm still sat.
So, family services is now, we've looked recently at our strategy around Fairways and our 3 core services: education, residential, and family services. So that's a real key part now of Fairways moving forward, and it offers some of the most essential children's services in family services to support some of the most vulnerable children and families in Hampshire, County Council, and sort of other local authorities as well. So we'll talk a little bit more about that through the podcast. So with all our guests, I'd like to start from the beginning, Natalie. So talk to me a little bit about your childhood and where you grew up.
Yeah, so I grew up in Wokingham in Berkshire. I'd say I had a fairly straightforward childhood. Completed through my GCSEs, went to sixth form to do my A-levels, and I guess it was around then that kind of sparked this interest in wanting to move into social care. Those that will know me know I can be a slight drama queen, and I was going to pursue a career in performing arts.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But whilst at sixth form, I had the opportunity to take 18 children with a team of us to go to the Brecon Beacons. We took 18 children with additional needs, and it changed everything. It changed my life. It was wonderful. We got linked up with certain young people, and the little girl that I was looking after had Down syndrome, and she was wonderful. And I came away and decided that I needed to reconsider my pathway, and here I am. And that's what led to me making an application to do social work, despite my head of drama's sheer disappointment. That's what I did. So I applied for some local universities in the South Coast. Portsmouth had the best option for me at the time. And that's it. The rest is history. Stayed down in Portsmouth and never went back to Berkshire. So, yeah.
Interesting. All right. So that's how you got into social work.
Yes,
Right.
that's
Okay.
it, yeah.
They say that sometimes something significant sparks that interest into social work. So, but you took the children's sort of route rather than adults.
Yeah, I mean, during the studying, my first placement was with Fairways, and I remember it to this day. I was sat in the fostering office at the old Fairways house, and I was offered the option of fostering or residential, and I went with fostering, and that was it. They continued there. But whilst I was at uni studying, I had the opportunity to complete a statutory placement with adults and mental health. They also offered me employment at the end, but by this point I was committed to Fairways and knew that's where I wanted to be. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, so that comes on to my next sort of question. I was going to say to you, how did Fairways come about? So obviously you had the placement there, but what made you, I guess, get drawn to taking that role at Fairways?
The people that I met very early on were just the people that I knew I wanted to be working with. The values in the right place. People that were coming to work to make a difference, really, and really cared about the work that we were doing. I actually was quite fortunate that through the summer period at university, when uni had finished, I came back and worked, so I had opportunity to do some frontline work in the children's homes and things to just upskill and support my learning. So working across services, my decision was made.
Good. Yeah. Okay. And does it feel still like that today?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, 16 years later. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about the services you oversee. So, just for the staff to understand a little bit more about the role of the different types of services that you operate in. So let's talk about the family centres first. We talk about a residential family centre, but what actually is that, and what's it do?
So ultimately, a family centre is a provision where we accept parents, and predominantly they are court-ordered families, and our role is to assess their capacity to care for their child. Now, that might be one parent, that might be both, it might be one child, it could be multiple children, and they stay with us for 12 to 13 weeks. And in that time, we observe, we assess, we support, we advise, and we encourage as well, and look at how those parents can be the best possible parent to that child. The heart of everything at the family centre is safeguarding. That trumps everything else. I'll be honest and say that it is one of the most emotive places I've worked, but the work that the team do there is incredible, just in terms of that guidance and oversight, really, of the families. And most families provide feedback that is positive in terms of the assessment process. They feel that they've been supported, they've been guided, they are able to make informed decisions and choices about the care of their baby, which is really important because it is about listening. They are the parent of that child. It's about listening to them and working out what's going to be right. So that's ultimately how it works. And then the assessment that is completed by a social worker on site at Fairways, and then that assessment goes back to the local authority and then back to court, and a decision is made as to whether or not it's favourable.
And how long would that assessment be? So how long are they placed with? 12
to 13 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah. In some cases, if there's been possibly a few challenges along the way, the local authority might say to us, can we have an extension? And all parties would have to agree that. But as a rule, I would say a maximum of 13 weeks. Yeah.
And I guess part of that assessment, that 12 weeks, you must have, I know you've got a sort of a multidisciplinary team that must work. So what other practitioners are involved in the centre that work?
So there's obviously more than just the social workers that form part of the assessment process. So we have support workers, seniors, team leaders. We have a psychotherapist on site who supports the therapeutic angle of the assessment and does some of the training analysis and the training needs for the families. So it's all there under one roof. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's I guess this is a real crucial part in it of children's services, of them young people potentially entering or not entering the care system, and that 12-week process.
Absolutely.
And assessment.
And also it's about breaking that cycle. I mean, sadly, we've had families that have had a repeated assessment. So they may have been with us a few years ago, they've moved on, and we see them coming back. So I think for us as a team, it's about how can we break that cycle? What else do we need to consider to kind of widen that social impact, I guess, and stop that repeated cycle of the children coming in? What's really nice at the moment is the link between family services. So we're talking now about the residential family centres, but it very much aligns with the contact provision. Okay. So, for example, if one parent is placed at the family centre, it might be that the second parent comes to the family contact service, and we allow and support the other parent to see the child, and the two services align quite nicely with things like that.
Well, let's come on to that then. So what is contact about, the contact service? So what's ultimately?
Contact is about connecting young people with family members. So it might be mum, it might be dad, it might be both together. It could be a significant other, a sibling, or a grandparent even. It's about some reunification work, supporting the child in a safe space to see someone that is connected in their life. Contact has an array of different families that we support. We have private referrals, we have local authority referrals, court-ordered referrals that come through, and it's about us adapting to what that family and what that child needs.
Okay, yeah. Interesting. And how many sort of contacts do you support, like a week, or how does it work sort of?
So Contact is a service that has significantly grown over the last 18 months. And I guess in terms of us expanding the residential side of family services, it's a no wonder really, because some of the contacts come from the family centres. But at the moment, the Contact team are supporting 55 families, which is really significant, the most that we've ever supported. They're inundated with referrals. There's such a need for a provision like us. And I guess what makes us special is our pathways around that young person and the access to, other parts of Fairways that we can support with, for example, the hub, the family centre, additional training needs. It's quite an exciting, expanding service.
Brilliant. Okay, thank you. And then I guess the last service, but not the least, a significant part of your department is fostering.
Yes.
So we know fostering, there's a national crisis, a shortage of around 5,000 carers. We're doing a local campaign at the moment trying to get businesses on board, the business community, to support fostering and raise the awareness, which is going extremely well. And we know it's just a critical part of for any young person coming into care that, fostering is always the first sort of point of call of trying to place a young person, if they can't with immediate family, into another family environment. So we know it's crucial and key. So talk to me a little bit about fostering and our fostering department. I know you're passionate about fostering.
Absolutely, yeah. So I kind of stand by that fostering is probably the heart of Fairways. It's where it all began, certainly where my career started. Fostering is so much to so many, and I think we are so fortunate that we can support a number of young people between 0 to 18, and in many cases at Fairways between 18 and 25 under a stay and put arrangement. We have children in short-term fostering arrangements, long-term arrangements. We've got siblings together. We've previously supported parent and child from our family centre into foster care. So there's a real need, and the demand is vast as well. And
what sort of sometimes there's a bit of myth sometimes that you can't work full-time and foster, and I think there's so many different types of fostering, isn't there? Your partner could foster while you're still working, or you could do emergency fostering. So talk to me a little about the different types of fostering.
Yeah, there's so many myths about who can foster. Now, nobody has a right to foster. There's obviously an extensive assessment process in terms of becoming a foster carer, and I think that's why campaigns such as this, actually the Fostering friendly stuff, kind of shine that light on what that looks like. So yeah, I would be, as I say, encourage anybody that is interested in wanting to foster to come forward. But we've got single carers, we've got couples, same-sex couples, some that work, some that don't. It's about adapting need and ensuring that there's availability to the young person. But those are all the sorts of things that we support, and via our supervision process for carers.
Brilliant. Thank you. So, your role as head of family services, give us an insight about what is that? What do you do, Natalie?
Well, I'll tell you one thing, there's never a dull day for a start. Every day is very different. I feel very fortunate to oversee family services, and I really feel like the three services just sit very nicely under that umbrella. Even just thinking about fostering then in terms of how important the foster family is in terms of that modelling and what good looks like, and better than good for our children is the same approach that we would encourage at the family centre. So they align in that way. My role is to oversee. My role is about quality, it's about compliance, it's about supporting the managers, being available to them, looking at how we can safely operate and running our services as smoothly as possible.
Yeah. Okay. What do you find the most challenging in your role, would you say?
I guess it's the unpredictable nature of the world that we work. So, every day there could be something different. We always make light of the fact that we could create a book because things are so different. You can't plan what that day looks like. So it's managing that and supporting people to manage through those particular issues as they crop up. A lot of containment as well, I guess, in terms of those that we're supporting.
I guess so. There's a lot of risk that you'd have to manage as well, especially with like the family centre. It's the families and mum, dad, and baby are placed there by the court for a significant reason around risk, and I guess it's the team and yourself managing that. And
I guess that's the risk element is what I was probably thinking in terms of the unpredictable nature, because on the one hand, on the one day we might have a parent that's relatively settled and low need, something may trigger, and then we're looking at something very different. But in terms of that, what I would say is I think we have the right people in the right roles. There's really good solid processes in place, and again that probably links to my role in terms of the compliance, making sure that is fit for purpose.
Brilliant, thank you. So what's your why, Natalie? What drives you? What makes you sort of get out of bed each day? What's your why?
I've experienced kind of significant loss, I guess, in my own childhood, and I've managed adversity, and I think I want to be a manager that understands and knows our people. I'm not shy from being on the shop floor. I won't just sit in an office on my laptop. So that motivates me. I'm motivated by change, and I want those that come to Fairways to have the best experience. I want us to be the stopgap for more placement breakdowns and all that kind of thing. And for when families, children, parents move on from our services, they look back and they say, that was actually really helpful. They got me, they understood me, they supported me, and we support their journey for their future. So that.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for sharing that. So we've got a 5-year strategy. We've got our 5-year breakthrough objectives as an organisation, as a charity. But talk to me a little bit about what's some of the key objectives you'd like to achieve in your department over the next few years.
So I guess just on the back of some of what I just said there, just in terms of that quality piece for families, particularly with the family centre, these families are referred, and most of the time that's not where they want to be. But for them to be able to come away and say, I felt supported, and I guess in some cases able to keep their baby. So there's a little bit about that in terms of improving practice where we can, that quality element. I'm very keen to grow family services because I think there is a real need for that. And I want to consider what our wider social impact looks like. So how are we supporting families in the community? How are we supporting our children in foster care when they move on in terms of employment, further education? How do we stop that gap in terms of young people being seen to not have that potential? So something around around that as well. And very keen to look at enhanced training across all 3 services as well.
Yeah.
To support staff. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
I like that. Mm-hmm. I like the community, the wider impact, that social impact as well. I know it's so keen that we want to sort of look into and how we really see how young people develop and families out in the community. So,
and I guess, the community piece as well is about how we do that early intervention work to prevent them having the need for other provisions potentially.
Definitely. Okay. So, look, I've known you for a long time. I know you're passionate about what you do. I know you're honest, and it's always about the young people and families. So, and in Fairways, we talk a lot about our values and playing your part, and having our key values such as professional, accepting, transparent, and reflective. But what's your core values? If you used to stick a rock, you used to get the seaside, I was to cut you in half. What would be the core values running through you? Would you say?
I don't think I've lost sight of the commitment, and I don't think I've lost sight of the children and families are at the heart of what we do. So I believe I say and do what I'm going to do. I don't let people down. And I think after, 16 years, I feel very strongly that the heart of my decision making and my practice are those that we're supporting. Yeah. And I believe that from senior managers and above here at Fairways as well.
Good. Yeah, I would agree. Yeah. Definitely. Thank you. Okay. So on my podcast, I always like to finish with a generic question at the end that I ask all the guests. So here it goes. So I guess, look, we work with a lot of trauma and complex sort of young people and families, and with the current sort of everyday, the chaos that in everyday life, we know it impacts on our mental health and well-being. So my question is to you is, what do you do to support your own well-being? What do you recommend? What do you do for yourself, and what do you recommend to people for your own well-being?
My latest is running.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So and exercise is my thing. Yeah. That's my time to just switch off, AirPods in. Can't even believe I'm saying this, because about a year ago I could not run anything. So yeah, just having that space away. Even a walk.
Yeah. It's important, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay, so running, right? So a year ago you didn't, and now you're into it.
Great self-run again.
Oh, are you? Brilliant. Oh, well done. Oh, good for you. Yeah. Cool. Okay, well, we've come to the end. I really appreciate your time, Natalie. Thank you so much for sort of being open and honest. It's been really insightful. I appreciate your time today. So thank you.
Yes, thanks for having me.
And thank you for everyone on listening. See you later.